Welcome to The Eye Opener. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. In a turn of events, Twitter is now suing Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton because they're the ones protecting free speech. It's only a matter of time until Facebook, Twitter, and their big tech friends become irrelevant as MyPillow CEO announces he will be launching his own social media platform. We take a deep dive into how Kamala Harris became the first black female president of America. Vice President of America. As the far left implements their poisonous scheme to racially divide America, a story between neighbors will be your remedy. Okay, my friends, let us take a closer look together. Twitter sues Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton for suing them, claiming that they're the ones who are protecting free speech. We all know the tech giants have been working together banning conservative voices. It started with Alex Jones in August 2018. Twitter, Facebook, Google, YouTube, and Apple all banned the conservative host all on the same day within hours apart. January 7, 2021, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Shopify deleted and banned Donald Trump. The following day, free speech social platform Parler was taken down by tech giants for not standing in line and canceling conservative voices. On January 13, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton opened an investigation into big techs. He demanded the companies to provide their policies and practices regarding content moderation and more specifically, information related to Parler. As we are all waiting for good news from the Texas AG, Twitter filed a lawsuit alleging Paxton was using his office to retaliate Twitter's banning of Trump. Twitter claims their ban is protecting free speech. They asked the judge to halt Paxton's investigation under the First Amendment. I still don't understand how Twitter has the nerve to say they are the ones protecting free speech as they shut people's accounts down. Or maybe I have it wrong. Shutting down Eye Opener's Twitter is protecting my freedom of speech. Come on, man. Twitter had banned another conservative voice, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell. But now Lindell will be launching his own social media platform in 4 to 5 weeks. Twitter banned Lindell on January 26 due to the retweet of Donald Trump's election claims. 20 retailers, including Kohl's and Bed Bath & Beyond, dropped MyPillow, which cost him, quote, $65 million this year. Google took tens of thousands of dollars in ad revenue from Lindell before shutting him down. He said, "We're launching this big platform so all the voices of our country can come back and start telling it like it is again. People will be able to talk and not walk on eggshells. You will not need YouTube and you won't need these places." Other than Lindell, prominent conservatives including Michael Flynn, Sidney Powell, and Lynn Wood have also been suspended by Twitter, forcing them to move to other platforms such as Telegram. Now, we are also on Telegram, so come join me for discussions. The link will be in the description. Last week, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani's YouTube account was banned from uploading new content for 2 weeks. YouTube claimed that Giuliani's channel violated both their nicotine and election integrity policy. Actress Gina Carano is known for her role in the Star Wars spin-off The Mandalorian. Disney Plus canceled her from the show on February 9th because of her opinions. Here is the post that had Carano canceled. She posted, "Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views?" After her cancellation, Carano got 80% more searches on Disney Plus, beating Disney's latest show, WandaVision, by 20%. 1 month later, Disney CEO Bob Chapek responded to the firing of Carano, saying that Disney is not left-leaning nor right-leaning. He emphasized that Disney stands for, quote, values that are universal, values of respect, values of decency, values of integrity, and values of inclusion. Those are all pretty words, but what they are doing is exactly the opposite. Chapek also said, "One thing we can all agree on is the power of Disney to unite us all." Well, if they cancel all different voices and you're only allowed to see one view, then yes, it will be very unifying. The real concern is how Disney is affecting our kids. Children can no longer watch Dumbo, Peter Pan, Swiss Family Robinson, and the Aristocats on Disney Plus while using the kids' profile mode. Disney explains that titles with a content advisory notice relating to negative depictions, and or mistreatment of people or cultures have been excluded. In Dumbo, Disney said the crows are imitating and ridiculing enslaved Africans on southern plantations. The company adds that the leader of the group in Dumbo is Jim Crow, which shares the name of laws that enforce racial segregation in southern United States. Peter Pan was dropped due to its portrayal of Native Americans. As for the Swiss Family Robinson, Disney said, quote, "The pirates who antagonize the Robinson family are portrayed as stereotypical foreign menace." Lastly, the Aristocats was criticized for the Siamese cat's eyes. Disney says it's an exaggerated stereotypical trait of East Asian people. A public opinion strategy survey reveals that nearly 2/3 of Americans agree that companies like Disney have taken political correctness a little too far. Other iconic films such as Psycho, Rope, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and John Ford's The Searcher are also going through the lens of today's identity politics. So hold tight to your favorite books and movies. Who knows if you're holding on to a rare copy of a banned item soon. Now, if you want to keep hearing real news that the mainstream media will not tell you about, please consider donating to the show. Our donor box link is in the description. Also, to get the information out to as many people as possible, please like and share this video. I also want to thank all of you who support us every day. It's our pleasure to be able to deliver to you news that matters. Okay, my friends, let's get back to the show. Kamala Harris takes another call with a foreign leader Tuesday on behalf of Biden. This time, she spoke with Norway Prime Minister Erna Solberg. In the call, Harris affirms her commitment to a strong alliance between Norway and the United States. Harris and Solberg agreed to work together to advance global health with a focus on women and girls, combat the COVID-19 pandemic, and tackle climate change. This is the 4th time Harris has held solo calls with foreign heads of states. Previously, Harris has spoken with Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, French President Emmanuel Macron, and Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Before becoming Vice President, Harris served as California Senator, Attorney General, and San Francisco's District Attorney. She has no extensive experience in foreign policy. However, her now frequent engagement with foreign leaders signals the world that she will be deeply involved in the foreign sector. World leaders probably sensed it and started to establish a relationship with her. Some critics even see her as a potential heir of Biden. A European ambassador put it bluntly: "She will be seen by everyone as a potential president in waiting, much more than in previous presidencies." When Biden signs executive orders, remarks on the pandemic, meets with GOP senators on the relief package, and answers questions from the press, Harris is also on the scene. She seems to be acting like a co-president, but do all Americans know her backstory? Today, we want to devote some time to review Kamala Harris's record as California's prosecutor from 1994 to 2015. In progressive circles, people admire Kamala Harris as the female Obama, as she is smooth, polished, and confident. Besides their resemblance in appearance, Harris does have a close relationship with Barack Obama. She first supported Obama while he was running for the Illinois Senate in 2004. After Obama was elected, he flew out to San Francisco and held a fundraiser for Harris. At that time, Harris was just elected as San Francisco's district attorney and needed to clear out some debt. In 2007, after Obama announced his plans to run for president, Harris and several members of her family campaigned for him. She traveled to several states to voice for Obama, and she was the co-chair of his California campaign. Obama was generous in his compliments to Harris. After he became president, Obama praised her, quote, "dedication and brilliance." He also added, "She also happens to be by far the best-looking attorney general in the country." And this comment wasn't well received by observers.
Controversial comments by President Obama earlier today at a fundraiser in the peninsula. He said Attorney General Kamala Harris is, quote, "by far the best-looking Attorney General." As the Night Team's Mallory Hoff reports, his words are getting some mixed response.
President Obama's time in Northern California wasn't without controversy.
Mr. President!
At a closed-to-news cameras fundraising event in Atherton, the president commented on State Attorney General Kamala Harris, saying, quote, "she's brilliant, she's dedicated, she's tough. She also happens to be by far the best-looking Attorney General."
Was the comment benignly sexist? Yes.
As a career prosecutor, first as San Francisco's district attorney, then California Attorney General, Harris gives people the impression that she is an ambitious woman constantly advancing herself by her own strength and determination. But the reality of Harris's rise to power is much more complicated and troublesome than most people would imagine. Her entry into politics began with a date. In 1994, she met Willie Brown. Willie Brown was the second most powerful man in California politics at the time. The two quickly started dating, despite Brown being a married man in his 60s and Harris was 29. In fact, Brown was even older than Harris's father. The two weren't shy about their age gap relationship. This affair was the talk of San Francisco in 1994. Brown quickly put Kamala on the State Unemployment Insurance Appeals Board and later the California Medical Assistance Commission. These two jobs paid her roughly $110K and $99K a year, and both of them were just part-time. Harris's full-time job as county employee had an annual salary of $100K. Brown had given Harris ample access to his extensive network of political supporters, donors, and sponsors. They were seen arm in arm in the most elite circles of San Francisco. In 1995, the two ended the romance but remained friends and strong allies. The split, however, didn't stop Harris from chasing her big political ambitions. Brown was San Francisco's mayor from 1996 to 2004. He possessed the most powerful political machine in Northern California. And Brown is far from a man of integrity. During his tenure, the FBI opened 2 investigations against Brown for corruption, but Brown's political machine managed to get him out of trouble. District Judge Charles Legg's comment on him was, "I thought it was only in third world countries that people were forced to pay bribes to get services they're entitled to from their government, but we find it right here in San Francisco." In 2003, Harris decided to challenge Terrence Hallinan's position as San Francisco's district attorney, but she was less known than her opponent. In opinion polls, her support was often in single digits. Again, Brown's machine helped boost her campaign. Brown himself wrote a letter calling wealthy donors and San Francisco elites to give $500 each, which is the maximum contribution amount, to help Kamala win. And she won. As DA, Harris used great discretion in deciding whether or not to prosecute a case. She sometimes did it as a way to pay back Brown's longtime support. Shortly after Willie Brown became the mayor, he appointed Hector Chinchilla as head of the San Francisco Planning Commission. Chinchilla took advantage of his position and illegally profited $200,000 from developers seeking city planning permits from his commission. In 2002, Terrence Hallinan, the San Francisco DA, charged Chinchilla with 7 misdemeanor ethics law violations. But after Harris came into office as DA in 2003, in 8 months, she dropped all corruption charges against Chinchilla. In another case, Ricardo Ramirez, a long-term donor for Willie Brown, ran a concrete company named Pacific Cement. Ramirez was not an ethical businessman. His company was using cheap recycled concrete on major city projects, including the Golden Gate Bridge, parking garages, and light rail. Using recycled concrete would make the construction prone to water penetration and cracking, posing a threat to public safety. Strangely, after the case came to light, Ramirez never faced charges for his fraudulent cement business. It turned out it was Harris who had dropped the case and settled a plea with Ramirez, downgrading the crime from a threat to public safety to an issue of environmental contamination. Ramirez paid $427,000 in fines to avoid jail time. In 2009, Harris set her ambitious hire and entered the race for California Attorney General. Backed by the San Francisco establishment again, Kamala Harris won a very tight race against her rival, Republican Steve Cooley, in 2010 by less than 1%. Harris carried her selective enforcement of laws to her new role as State Attorney General as well. In 2015, Attorney General from 14 states launched a mass investigation into a number of nutrition companies for false advertising and mislabeling. The charged companies include GNC, Walgreens, Vitamin Shoppe, and Herbalife. Harris's office alone received more than 700 complaints about Herbalife. In July 2016, the Federal Trade Commission won a $200 million settlement against Herbalife. There must be something wrong with the company, but Harris never opened an investigation into Herbalife or any of the other companies on the list. And you ask why? All those corporations in question happen to be represented by her husband, Douglas Emhoff's law firm. Here's another appalling story. Jerry Brown was California's governor from 2011 to 2019. He was also Harris's political ally. He endorsed her for the Senate seat in 2016, but Brown's endorsement could have other implications. In June 2013, Jerry Brown's sister Kathleen Brown joined the board of an energy infrastructure company called Sempra Energy. Corrosion at one of the Sempra storage fields, Aliso Canyon, caused the worst natural gas leak in American history. Thousands of residents had to evacuate from the area for months. The disaster could have been avoided. A report revealed that there had been more than 60 leaks in the field dating back to the 70s, but Sempra didn't carry out detailed inspections after the leaks occurred. This was a major environmental misconduct by Sempra. Despite the severity of the threat to public safety, Harris's Attorney General office refused to investigate the matter. Harris became senator in January 2017, and what did she leave for the state of California? In 2014, California passed Proposition 47, also known as the Safe Neighborhoods and School Act. The proposition recategorized a number of nonviolent felonies as misdemeanors such as drug possession or theft and forgery involving less than $950. Today in California, people who steal less than $950 worth of goods are difficult to prosecute. The thieves get caught but will be released and continue shoplifting, leaving small businesses to suffer. Harris's Attorney General office was responsible for writing Proposition 47's official title and summary, including 100-word blurb to inform voters about the impact of the new measure. Her office failed to reveal the full implications of the act. Her office didn't inform voters that Proposition 47 could be responsible for a drastic reduction in DNA collection from criminals. DNA from people who committed lower-level offenses have been used to solve major crimes. Of course, the omission helped secure an easy pass for the new measure. Now, as a black woman herself, Harris frequently plays the race card. She seems like an advocate for black and minority rights, but the reality is, during her tenure as State Attorney General, California incarcerated an average of 3,000 per 100,000 black Americans. That's 7 times higher than whites and 4 times higher than the Hispanics in the state. Let's watch how former Vice President Pence describes her record as prosecutor in the 2020 vice president debate. By the way, please ignore the moderator.
When you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney General of California, you increased the disproportionate incarceration of blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to pass the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record speaks for itself.
Something even more disturbing, Harris blocked key evidence which could free innocent people from prison.
Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place. That impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you. Harris's rise in politics is closely tied to California's most corrupted political machines. Her tenure as prosecutor is a showcase of her arbitrary law enforcement to reward her political allies, donors, and supporters. Kamala Harris is also known as the champion of the radical left, which will be our next expose on her, so stay tuned. Okay, let me ask you all this. Have you ever run over to your neighbors and asked to borrow eggs? Or has your neighbor knocked on the door with home-cooked food that was made just for you and your family? Well, I know I have. And today I want to pay homage to my neighborhood and the beautiful families that surround my home that I have the great privilege to call my neighbors. I want to share an article titled, "Dad Who Grew Up in Single-Parent Family Celebrates Childhood Neighbors Who Helped Raise Him." This article tells a story that is aligned with the old adage, it takes a village to raise a child. But most importantly, I hope by the end you will see the beauty of community and the sometimes underappreciated blessings we call neighbors. Cody Gabbard is a proud father of 4 children. Together with his wife, the couple runs the town's oldest dance studio, the Aubrey Shogart School of Dancing in Victoria, Texas. Cody goes on to say, My mother, Yvette Shogart, raised me and my brother Adam by herself. Yvette was a court reporter who moved with her children to Victoria when Cody was only 2 years old. That's where they met their neighbor, Mr. Chip. Mr. Chip, a Vietnam veteran with the U.S. Marines, played college baseball after returning home from deployment and worked as an operator for a chemical plant. He left a profound influence on Cody and his brother. Cody said Mr. Chip's real name is Milton West, and he is married to Shirley West. The connection I made with Mr. Chip was started with the admiration and respect for him. Prone to getting in trouble, Cody found himself sitting in Mr. Chip's driveway time and time again, receiving life advice from the kindly veteran. Cody reminisced, he would always remind me how important it was to respect my mother and to behave. I got a man to fill a void in my life. Cody also credits his outgoing personality and fearlessness to Mr. Chip. He taught me that color of a man's skin means nothing. The only color that matters is the color of our heart and how we choose to use it. One of the most beautiful things about kindness, love, and admiration is that it has no limits. And now Mr. Chip has become Cody's 4 children's honorary grandfather. Mr. Chip's adopted grandchildren call him Pops. Unfortunately, Mr. Chip is currently on dialysis, so the Shogarts have scaled back their visits to protect his health during the pandemic. Yet, Mr. Chip calls Cody and pretends to threaten him with police action for not letting him see his grandbabies. Once the rant is over, we have a great laugh together. Cody ended the article by saying, "I wanted people to see the great man I have known all my life," adding a personal message for Mr. Chip himself. "If I become a fraction of the man you are, I will know that my kids will be on the right path. I loved you then, I love you now, and I will love you forever." And with that being said, I just want to say to my neighbors, from my family to yours, we love you and we appreciate you. And to all of you out there who watch and support the show, don't waste the opportunity to make a neighbor a part of your family. And that's it for today, my friends. Please like and share. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Check out this playlist right here for more eye-opening content. You can also follow me on Gab, Parler, and Telegram. Don't forget, please sign up to our email list so that way we can stay in contact with each other. Thank you all, and I'll see you next time.